Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in a prior video on my Outer Limitless 2 channel, we took a look at a couple of Thrunite flashlights in a side-by-side comparison. Now all things considered, I was very happy with that video, but it wasn't exactly perfect because, well, I didn't quite compare the right way, in my opinion, and I didn't quite control all of the variables. But today, we're going to look at two products that kind of corrects that. So in this hand, the TC15 version 3, and in this hand, the TC15 version 3. So like many of Thrunite's offerings, they do have multiple different colors, not just for the body, but also color temperatures for the LED. And that's exactly what we're doing today. So here we're going to look at the TC15. Now, when you look at the side of the box, TC15 version 3, the black body, well, this has the neutral white LED. And here, the TC15 version 3 in desert tan body, but with the cool white LED. So neutral white versus cool white. This is the discussion. This is what I really wanted to come down to. Why would you pick one versus the other? What's your preference? And part of this is a discussion. I would love to hear your opinions on this matter. So leave some comments down below. And so when we get back, we're going to get into these in detail, get them out of the box, haven't even opened these up yet, take a look at the overall features, and then we're going to compare the beams. And so with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Thrunite who did provide these for review. And so first off, with Thrunite, I love their programming. I think they get the programming literally about perfect, about the best, and I'm hoping that's going to be the case here with the TC15 version 3. And so at this point, what we're going to do is try to keep things straight. For the bulk of this, on the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to end up with the black body, and it's going to be the neutral white. So black body, neutral white will be on the left-hand side. And then here, well, this is the, again, desert tan with the cool white. So that's going to be on the right-hand side. So that's going to kind of help keep things organized, keep things straight, and really give you a benchmark as we continue to move forward. Now, digging these out of the box, I'm really only going to go through the contents of one of the boxes. No need to go into full detail. So I'm going to take the cool white tan here and slide this aside. We'll get the actual flashlight out here. But with the black and the neutral white, we'll go through the box in detail. So pretty standard from Thrunite. You'll notice here everything coming the way it typically does. Your packaging, again, very simple. Your user's manual, so a little bit of documentation here if you need it. Charging cable for a USB Type-C charging port, which, as we take a look at the flashlight here, you'll notice on the side does have your USB Type-C charging port. Pocket clip, which we will attach to these. Lanyard, O-ring, and your spare covers for your compartments. And a simple nylon pouch style sheath, which is fairly effective. Now these can go either bezel up or bezel down. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That Velcro enclosure there has a D-ring for a dangler if you so choose, and then a belt loop. So simple yet effective at the same time. Now as we get into this, the notice to basically tighten down both the tail cap and the head of the flashlight. So I'm going to remove this here and here. So actually really nice. Right off the get-go, the side switch on this is blacked out, which I think is really cool. On most of these models, it's kind of chrome, but here, blacked out. Single press there, yes. So this comes on, so there should be enough battery life just to get us started. Now, as you take a look at the overall construction, nice form factor, very, very nice. I like the overall just general size. This is an 18650 size battery, so fits in the hands nicely, good and compact. You'll notice a little bit of knurling in strategic locations, smooth in others. You'll see the groove here for that pocket clip. A nice size head. Now there are a couple of areas that are flattened out so that it can sit nice down on a surface and not necessarily completely roll away. You do have the ability to tail stand this light if you so choose. And as I take a look at the head here, you'll notice a nice head with a fairly straightforward reflector, has some orange peel on the inside, and you can see the LED. Now as I install the clip here, this is basically going to go on in this particular direction. However, what I'm always curious about is if I could potentially remove the head. Now here you'll see the battery. We'll look at that in a second. But also the tail cap, which in this case, the tail cap is firmly in place. Sometimes with dual threaded head and tail caps, you can actually reverse the direction of the clip. But in this case, yeah, that's firm and not really coming off. This is your standard Thrunite 3100 milliamp hour 18 650 3.6 volt 11.16 watt hours. These batteries are very nice. I've never had any problems with Thrunite batteries, and I do get solid performance out of these. But again, as we get this reinstalled, we're going to go through all of the modes in both of the flashlights because they may differ just a little bit. And I can tell you, even if they're identically the same in terms of the lumen output, the beam quality is going to differ because of the difference in the color temperature. So real quick, just to go through a basic function check, a long press here, that's going to be the Firefly mode. A single press is going to go into here. You'll see as we cycle, low, medium, high, low, medium, high. A quick double press, that's going to be the turbo. Triple press, that's going to be the tactical strobe. So Thrunite, in my opinion, has about the best user's interface. I love that programming, and I've talked about it time and time and time again at this point, and I have a lot of naysayers that don't believe me, but what I'm saying is what I like the most about Thrunite and what they do well, the fact that I get 3 modes with really the easiest manipulation. So a long press is always going to be that Firefly mode. A single press is always going to be the memory. So if I put it in low, medium, or high, I'm going to leave it in medium for the example. And then a double press is always going to be that turbo. And what that gains me is the most modes with the least manipulation of the flashlight. At this point, I am pretty much at set it and forget it. So I am always long press to Firefly. There we go. Read up close. Don't kill my night vision. Oh, now I need to walk. Single press. That's the medium mode. Navigate around. Where are my keys? Oh, what's that over there? Double press. Boom. Blast that turbo. No problem. Oh, there's an intruder. Triple press, and that's the tactical strobe. And I never really need to mess with anything more. I love that about Thrunite. And so now as we get into the overall beam quality, we're going to do it tabletop first. So again, keeping in mind the fact that the black here has the neutral white and the tan has the cool white. So you should see that the neutral white appears a little warmer than the cool white, but we'll test that for sure. Now, just one little subtlety as we take a look at these side by side, you'll notice the logo difference. This is co-branded, and I'll annotate below if I can figure out who that's co-branded with. But this is the sort of silver color I was saying that you typically get on the side switch, and I love that on the tan. It's just fully blacked out. That's a cool look. Now, the next thing is, regardless of which model you use, the lumen output is the same. So keep in mind the fact that now, as we long press to Firefly, that Firefly mode is 1 lumen. This will run for 30 days. If I single press to the low mode is 34 lumens. That will run for 50 hours. A long press medium, that's 330 lumens for 4.6 hours. A long press high, that's 1,057 lumens for about 1.6 minutes. Then it will dim down to 754 lumens for 108 minutes. A quick double press, that's 2,403 lumens. That will run for 2.3 minutes and then dim down to 732 lumens for 106 minutes. Triple press to strobe, That is 1040 lumens, which will run for 190 minutes. That there is 12,420 candela, which has a basic range of 223 meters. This has a rating of IPX8 and is impact resistant to around 1.5 meters. And so now as I kill the office lights here, you can see just going to get a nice little glow here. So we're going to long press on each one of these, and we're going to start to light things up. And right away, you're starting to see the difference in the beam. So again, in that firefly mode, this is 1 lumen, and the difference in the overall brightness may become apparent. Now, it depends on your eyes, it depends on what you pick up, but again, you end up with your neutral white on the left and your cool white on the right. And this is actually the point I was trying to make in my prior video, and this is really going to start to help to illustrate this. Now a single press into the low mode, the low mode being 50 lumens. And again, you're actually starting to see things differentiate a little bit. Now it's interesting where the camera is going to compensate just a little bit, but at the same time, 50 lumens, you're starting to see the difference in the beam. Now, both of these, I think, are illuminating fairly even, and at the same time, pretty easy to see. Now, I do have to admit, at this point, I feel like my eyes are picking up a little bit better, actually, on the neutral white versus the cool. But again, it's sort of subtle, it's hard to say. But in terms of detail, I do feel like I'm able to see a little bit more detail in that neutral pattern. Now, both of these we're going to long press. So a single long press on both of these. This is now the medium mode at 330 lumens. And you can see at this point, again, very even in both cases. And really, I mean, I think a lot of this comes down to personal preference and what you really want for your eyes and what your eyes see. Now, if I'm careful, I'm going to line both of these up right on the white stripe of the grid so that you can see the main beam going right down the center of the grid there. And again, way in below, what do your eyes see? What do you think? I mean, for me, still, I'm seeing very well on the neutral versus the cool. The cool, of course, doing a nice job to light things up, but a little more detail still in the neutral. So very interesting. Now here another long press. You're going to notice that both of these go back down to low. That is part of the programming for Thrunite. If you wait long enough, it goes back down to low. But now medium, high, medium, high. This is the high mode in both cases, 1057 lumens. Now, quality beam, good amount of output. And as we back these off a little bit, you're starting to see maybe a little bit of differentiation. Now, the reason why I say that is I find that at this point, even though both are very even, once I'm getting to the higher output, I'm actually seeing more detail further out with the cool white versus the neutral. Maybe closer up, a little more detail with the neutral versus the cool. And I think that's because it comes off to my eyes as softer, quote unquote, even though it's the same sort of lumen output. But that could just be my imagination, but that is the impression that I get. Now turning these off, both a double press. This is the turbo mode, so in both cases here on turbo, this is a total output of 2,403 lumens. Now, granted, again, the camera kind of adjusting to the output. Otherwise, it would be simply washing everything out. And you can see, again, off in the distance in both cases, pretty nice, but I do think that I'm starting to get a lot more detail in my ability to see further off. Again, with the cool versus the neutral. But that's the tabletop. What about when we get these outside for the side-by-side beam shots?
And so now as we get outside for some beam shots, again, we are going to long press here. Both of the lights now are in the moonlight mode. So on the left-hand side, you can see, or maybe you can't see, but that is the neutral white. And on the right-hand side, that is the cool white. And as I come in front of the camera, again, this here being the neutral, this here being the cool, and even the LEDs you can see. So as I illuminate my hand here, that's the neutral and the cool. So you can definitely see with that cool white, it is definitely a lot cooler in temperature, of course, but that's bluer, a little less yellow. Now a single press for both of these as we long press them into the low mode. Low mode's going to be nice for general navigation. Now I'm going to kick to the left here with the neutral and the cool. Neutral, cool. Again, you can see with the cool actually picking up on maybe a little more detail. It's hard to say for sure. Both of them having a reasonable defined hotspot and a good amount of spill. But as we long press here to the medium mode, now it's going to really start to light up, and you'll start to see the differentiation between the two. So again, on the left, the neutral, the right is the cool. We'll beam off into the distance here. So here's the neutral. Nice light, very clean pattern. Beautiful beam overall. That centralized hotspot with a nice amount of spill. And now the cool. So again, the cool, you can definitely see the difference. For me, I could go either way. I do like both equally. Now as we take a look at my steps, you can see the neutral and the cool. Which one do you see better? Let me know down below. Kind of curious. So again, that's the medium mode. Another long press here. And now we're in that high mode. So again, beaming off into the distance all the way down to the fence line with the neutral and the cool. The neutral, I feel like I can see generally more even. And then the cool seems to be more maybe centralized on the hot spot. But again, very hard to tell. If I had to pick one over the other, to be honest, I think I would pick the neutral. It does seem to be a little more even. A double press into turbo. Again, as we take a look at the turbo mode, the neutral, as we look at my porch, and the cool. Now here on turbo, definitely starting to differentiate themselves. But again, personally, I think I like the neutral. A little easier on the eyes and a little more even in my opinion. Now again, a long press as we look against the fence line. This is going to help here to further illustrate this. So neutral and cool. Neutral, cool. It's again very subtle, but at the same time, each definitely has its own characteristics. Single press here. These are now in the low mode. So you can see nice even beam. You can see that defined hot spot that I'm talking about with the spill off to the side. That's certainly the case for both of these. Long press medium. Good amount of throw. Long press high. Nice quality beam. Now you're really seeing the difference in the color temperature. Double press turbo. Really lighting things up. Triple press. And off.
And so if you had to pick one of these Thrunite TC15 version 3 flashlights, which would you pick? Would you pick that neutral white? Would you pick the cool white? And why? For me, if you had asked me at the very beginning of this video which one, I would have picked the cool. I thought I would have wanted the cool. I think at this point, I've talked myself into the neutral, and I'm very surprised. I do prefer the slightly warmer beam. I like how even it is. I like how well my eyes could see it. And I know that there's going to be a pro and a con at different times for different reasons and for different tasks. But on the general, for an EDC light, for me personally, I think I'm going with the neutral. I think the neutral is just a little bit better on my eyes, and I'm very surprised at that. So again, What would you pick and why? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear it. Start a little conversation. It's just cool. It's unique sort of topic, and just the idea being that with a company like Thrunite, you oftentimes do get your choice. They do a great job offering both the neutral and the cool. I definitely like that about Thrunite, and I love the programming. Generally speaking, a nice functional light, perfect form factor, very easy, the side switch simple, the clips are always solid, USB, Type-C rechargeable, and a battery that always performs. So Thrunite, very nicely done. And so again, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Thrunite for providing these for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.